Hello, WHS. My name is Hannah Wallace.
And I'm Sahana Karthik, reporting for the Lobby Observer.
Welcome to the first episode of Teacher Talk Tuesdays, a series in which we will get to know some of Westboro High School staff. Our goal is to showcase the teachers who work hard to create a positive learning environment for their students.
To kick off this new segment, we got the opportunity to speak with a couple of new teachers around the building. The first teacher that we spoke with was history teacher Miss Gagnon.
Miss Gagnon currently teaches freshman students. Last year, she was a long-term substitute teacher in the history department. Miss Gagnon is a WHS alum who went on to attend UMass Amherst to receive her degree in history.
Let's turn it over to Miss Gagnon to learn more about what brought her back to WHS, her goals as a new teacher, and some advice for students interested in pursuing a career in education.
My name is Miss Gagnon. I am a social studies teacher here. I've been teaching for about a year now. Here for about a year, actually.
Where did you go to school, and did you major in education?
So I went to college at UMass Amherst. I did not major in education. I actually majored in history. A lot of schools nowadays are trying to get people who are becoming high school teachers to major in what they want to teach, and then do education as like a side part.
That's awesome. Yeah. What led you to becoming a teacher?
The teacher is actually at Westboro High, because I am a Westboro High grad. I loved my teachers here. I loved the teachers in the history department, so now they're my colleagues, which is great. Yeah, they were the ones that really got me into thinking about teaching in the first place.
Did you always know that you wanted to go into education, or like when did it come to you?
It wasn't a surprise that I wanted to go into education. I was always a big academic kid anyways. I think at first I was kind of going in the veterinarian type route. Then I changed when I was a freshman in high school, primarily, because of the teachers here. So.
That's awesome. How's your first month been?
Really good.
In school.
All good things so far. It's starting to pick up the actual talking about actual history, which I really like to do. That's why I like to get paid to talk about history, because I love it that much. But yeah, nothing dramatic so far, unfortunately.
What's your preferred teaching style, and like how do you feel like you want to run your class?
I treat students like mini historians. Before I fully became a teacher, I did a lot of work as like a historian, so I'm kind of used to how historians work, so I offer basically the same knowledge that I had. So I do a lot more like student-centered, like let's do hands-on activities, like the archives we do here. And a lot of it's mostly just like how to read like a historian, how to write like a historian, how to act essentially like a historian as well.
Who was a teacher that really inspired you growing up?
Miss Gormley was definitely a big component in me becoming motivated to do history. Mr. O'Brien was also fantastic about doing that as well as getting my confidence boosted. And when I was here, we had Dr. Deshpande, who was a biology teacher. She was super strict, but phenomenal at what she did. I thought I was horrible at bio, and then I got my MCAT scores and I was advanced, and I was like, okay, great. She definitely taught me something. And she was one of those teachers that even if you failed a test, she would, sit you down and kind of work through what you didn't do as well on and what to improve on, which was a lot of the things that I do now with my students.
A little bit more about yourself, like what do you like to do outside of school, what are your hobbies?
I do a lot of reading, not surprisingly, a lot about history. I do a lot of crocheting. One would think I'm like a grandma, but I'm really not.
Do you have any advice for any students or people that want to go into teaching?
If you're interested in going into teaching, think about the teachers you have now, good and bad. when you go into college kind of having this idea of becoming a teacher, a lot of the things you're going to be asked about is, you know, who was a good teacher in your opinion and who was a bad teacher and what made them good and bad. And that way, when you also are thinking about how you as an educator want to teach, you can at least know what not to do or what you can or you're trying to do as well as your favorite teachers as well. So think about the good and the bad, although you don't really want to think about the bad. And always, I guess, remember the teachers that you once had, and tell your favorite teachers now that you're trying to model after them, so that they feel, you know, they feel happy about what they're doing as well. So.
Thanks, Ms. Gagnon. It was great getting to speak with you. We are glad to hear that the school year has been off to a good start, and we hope that the rest of the year only gets better.
Definitely. Our next teacher, though still new to the profession, has plenty of experience in the workforce prior to WHS.
That's right, Sahana. Business teacher Ms. Croston started teaching at WHS halfway through last school year. Prior to becoming a teacher, she spent many years working a corporate business job.
This experience has contributed to much of Ms. Croston's teaching style. Take a look at our conversation with her for more about her experience and goals as a teacher.
This is my first year of teaching. Beforehand, I worked in finance for 26 years for PNC Bank and BNY Mellon. I took some time off to spend time with my son, and I found my way here to Westboro High, and I've been enjoying it. And I teach, I have 2 freshman classes, and then my other classes are juniors and seniors.
Nice. So where did you go to school? And I'm assuming you didn't major in education, so what did you major in instead?
So I went to Skidmore College. Big shout out there. Loved it. And I majored in political science. And at the very end, I started taking economics classes. And I loved economics. So I ended up with a minor in economics, but I left there wanting to pursue something in that career.
Nice. So then from there to now teaching here, kind of what led you to become a teacher?
So what led me to become a teacher is I worked for many years in banking. So I worked at PNC Bank, where I eventually became their treasurer of a division. And then I worked at the Bank of New York Mellon, where I eventually ran a regulatory group of 100 people. So very kind of demanding jobs. And then having a child and settling in Westboro made me kind of rethink my priorities. And I decided to take a step out of the working world. But then I got bored after a couple of years. And I really have always enjoyed, spending time with kids. I coach soccer. Not that you're children, you're adults. And I thought I would be a good fit for teaching. And I do enjoy it.
Yeah, awesome. So how's, this first year been at Westboro High School?
No, it's been great. Yeah, it's been great. So it is, I think the classes are interesting and it's fun preparing for them. And I've enjoyed meeting all the kids.
So what's kind of like your preferred teaching style, and how do you think this helps the students?
Well, my goal is to try to make education meaningful to the students in terms of how they can use that in real life. Mm-hmm. So I try to bring real life into the classroom. So we are doing most of the classes are project based, even though we do have tests to just to make sure everyone's on the same page in terms of assessments. But mainly we're project based, and I also try to bring in guest speakers too. And I also use my own experience from the working world to give to the students. So what I want to do is have the teaching and what I teach applicable to your lives, basically, or your future lives.
Outside of school, do you have any hobbies, things you like to do?
Yeah, so I do have a 7-year-old, and I coach soccer, and he plays hockey. So we pretty much are on his sports schedule / birthday party schedule. So I'm good at buying birthday gifts and making cards. But before, in a previous life, we loved skiing. So my husband and I met skiing. So we've traveled the world skiing before we had a child. And we've done all sorts of different backcountry adventures. And we also used to enjoy mountain biking and going to the Cape a lot.
And then lastly, do you have any advice for students who want to potentially go into teaching?
I do. I think, you know, I think if you love it, just go for it, right? And if you're not sure, I think it's probably a good idea to try whatever your chosen profession is. Let's say, you know, I'm interested in chemistry. Go be a chemist. You know, get some real life experience first, and then go into teaching. So you have something to, you know, to kind of fall back on, or it's something to fall back on, but it's also something that you have some experience you can give to the students.
It sounds like WHS is lucky to have Miss Croston as a teacher.
Agreed. Her dedication to connect real-world experiences to the classroom environment makes for a great class.
Well, that's all for today. Stay tuned for our next episode of Teacher Talk Tuesday. This has been Hannah Wallace
And Sahana Karthik, reporting for the Lobby Observer from Studio 33 at Westboro TV.